Bam! Okay, guys. Oh, I forgot to take off my Wi-Fi. That might make the friggin' stream glitchy. Darn it. I should start over again, but I won't. Darn it, darn it, darn it. So if it's glitchy, forgive me. I forgot to take off the Wi-Fi. Put it on 4G. I think I can still do it though. Before anybody chimes in, let's see. Let's see if I take it off of the Wi-Fi. Darn it. Okay, I know it's gonna glitch for a second. Okay, guys, so what's up, everyone? Let me know if you can see the picture. Okay, I just took my phone off of Wi-Fi because I think that's what's making the streams glitchy, and I'm using my 4G network. And I thought I would talk about, because I keep saying all the dangers and be careful and the risks of keto. I thought today I would talk a little bit about why keto is so freaking fantastic. Let's keep it real. So, hey, everybody who's coming into the chat. Oh, finally live. Okay. So here we go. And then I'm going to take you guys' questions and bounce. So I'm always saying, be careful. Here are the risks. Here are the problematic spots or uh, things that you have to consider if you're doing a ketogenic protocol. But let's talk about what's the best diet of all time. Now, I don't call it a diet. That's just a clickbait. It's actually, it's the best lifestyle of all time. So I'm going to go into it right away. It's been a while. Okay. So here's the deal. I've been doing this for 11 years straight with no refeeding, longer than everybody. So that means, like some people say, I've been doing keto since the 80s, but it was sort of an Atkins version. So I really want to kind of go through what Atkins is in comparison to a ketogenic protocol, carnivore, and paleo. So keto is in its own little realm, and I think you guys need to really understand what that means uh, when you're in 3 months. Yes. And because a lot of the people that have criticism about the ketogenic diet, nobody's just done it long enough to really understand and know, is it possible to do it as long, let's say, as I have, which is 11 years, which is no wine, no alcohol, same thing, no caffeine, no sugar, no fruits, no sweet fruits. Really, I've pretty much gotten my fruits down to coconut and avocado and olives. Like, that's it. Like, I've cut it down. Like, not even tomatoes at this juncture because it's a nightshade. And that the skins and seeds are highly toxic. Yes, true story. So I haven't had anything over 20 net carbs. And to be honest, my carbs are probably down to 10 to 15 total a day, if that. Forget the net. And what else? I have, over time, I've played with my amount of protein and also with the clients, the people that I've been working with. So as I've mentioned before, I learn through everyone else. Don't forget to like up the stream. There's 40 whole people in this chat. Used to be in 100. Now it's weird in the algorithm. So liking up the chat helps to bring more people to the channel. So you hit the X in the corner and it collapses. You hit the thumbs up and then hit the icon chat again, it'll reopen. But I digress. The point is that the reason why I believe that it's the best diet of all time or lifestyle is because it's very interesting to not have anything to restore glycogen. So when you eat carbohydrates, when you do a paleo diet, a low carb, high fat diet, you're still reliant on glycogen, which is stored energy in the muscle. So it's very interesting once that's depleted. And you can deplete your glycogen in a day. So people are like, should I do cardio? Should I do all these things to essentially drive the gasoline tank down to as zero? And I'm like, no, just full keto overnight. Next morning, you'll be glycogen depleted very fast. So you're 54, have extreme high blood pressure or blood sugar? Pressure. Okay, diabetes, had heart attack. triple bypass 2014. My kids' doctors do not want me to go keto. Can you possibly explain how? Okay, yeah. Then this goes in alignment with these doctors who don't. They just don't know. What's your name? Is it Tresemme One? Okay. So, hi from New Jersey. You will have to make a consultation. And who said that? Yin Yang is right. Consultation is probably the best. I mean, any advice I give on a live stream for the people on the replay who actually have a heart attack because they feel that I'm focused too much on the chat. But that's the reason why I do live streams, is to communicate with the chat. But with that said, I'm going to go into my journey, the people that I've worked with, and I'm going to answer that question about, because I assume it's about the cholesterol and diabetes and whatnot. And I will tell you the risks of doing keto. And I will say right now, as a leader into that answer to that person's concerns, is that you don't do keto if you are not willing to really be super disciplined. Otherwise, you're wasting your time 100%. With that said, disciplined and knowledgeable, know your existing health. Focus, phone. If you're lightheaded, your electrolytes are still wacky, or you have low blood pressure, or you're hypoglycemic. So I'll go more into that. With that said, the reason why it's freaking the most amazing thing in the world, it all comes down to the type of protocol that you decide to do, which should be how disciplined you are, how much you're willing to learn about yourself, your day, who you are, your lifestyle, your circadian rhythm, your lack of circadian rhythm, and your quality of food, and how to implement this into your life. If you are even 5% lazy on trying to do keto, it's a waste of time. So all those people who want to do lazy keto, bye Felicia, gone. It's not going to work. Yin Yang's like, why do bodybuilders, how can they eat so much food and stay lean? Okay, Yin Yang, this, okay, normally in the ass cheek. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Exogenous pharmaceuticals will take you right there. Super easy to get lean. So there's a lot of cheating involved in that. Now, with that said, the things that make it amazing is that you can regulate your blood sugar. So in the past, I would crash in the afternoon. I used to personal train clients, and I would crash, and it would be like Charlie Brown and the teacher, and wow, 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 and I just didn't even hear what they were saying, and I was like, Stephanie, focus. And this is not even at a desk. This is actually training people. And often I would actually literally work out with my clients to stay freaking clear or somewhat get my adrenaline going. So this was a postprandial reaction to any type of lunch I have had, which is reactive hypoglycemia. Didn't know back then what it was. Gone. I can't remember the last time I ate something, started getting sleepy. It's been so many years, I can't remember. The energy that I have, because my energy is so stabilized, it's redunculous. It's a life that when you're 51, going on 52, and people who see me, are you really in your 50s? I'm like, yes, trust. Born 67. So to know that you've lived a whole life on a standard American diet, and it's just, you feel so, but you don't know you feel bad, you guys. You don't know it. Because it's normal, right? We're not living as hunter-gatherers. We are living as modern humans, and we feel like ass, and we don't even know it. This little chair. I was doing my live streams on my keto course page before, and it's still here, in the way. So, another problem. Hey, Deborah, my mod's in the house. So, another thing that has improved besides sustained energy. So, people are like, energy. Yes, girls got some energy. I mean, when I work out, it's just, like, it never dips, ever. My 51-year-old body starts to get cranky in the joints, but not in muscle contraction. So a lot of people are worried about glycogen depleted over time, and not being able to lift, and not being able to have your kidneys rebalance the electrolytes in the water, which clearly it does, because you can't see I'm wearing like this type of top, but you don't, your body's rebalanced and you're not flat, which a lot of people are concerned about, especially bodybuilders. So that was very interesting to go from 113 pounds at 5'3" to 125, and as highest I've gone in my weight was still having abs. I mean, this is very, very the light's very flat, but I've been at this body fat, I mean, I'm probably around 13-14%. I've been down to 11, believe it or not. I looked horrible. I was just like, no boobs. My butt was like, no. That was reminding you guys to like up the stream. You just hit the X in the top right corner and let the chat collapse, and you'll see the thumbs up. Click on it and reopen the chat by hitting the chat window, because I'm trying to raise a profile on this very humble stream. You guys can go out there and hear a bunch of lies and nonsense from other people who try to make money, but not here. So essentially, the things that people are like, the thing that's amazing is to be in my 50s on keto and still be so hormonally balanced. Now, I had my OBGYN do a full hormonal panel, which then I got the phone call, you don't even need to come in, you have perfect hormones. Perfect. All three: estrogens, progesterone, and testosterone. I was like, that's what's up. And the best thing about that is, which is why I tell women to protect their adrenals and protect their DHEA, is because once you start dominating an estrogen and having your progesterone hit the floor, so does the testosterone. Which the sex drive goes, it's very hard to stay lean, it's very hard to build muscle when your reproductive hormones are out of sync, or if you've gone through menopause, which then you are 100% reliant on these poor little adrenals. So for me to be able to give the substrates to build reproductive hormones, which is cholesterol, high cholesterol in the diet that I'm eating, it's amazing skin quality, dexterity, in my 50s, strength at the gym. I'm bigger now, so if you see me in videos or pictures before, I'm much smaller. You know, I'm over what I'm like, let's see, I'm 13, 14 pounds heavier than before, and I've probably gone up just about 2.5 body fat percent to 3, or maybe 4, but that's nothing if you compare me when I was 35 and a lot smaller, eating carbs. So the benefits are to be able to rebalance your endocrine system, and that includes your adrenal system, your reproductive hormonal system, and it's amazing, and your thyroid hormones. But there's a caveat to it. The other things that are amazing, beyond like skin quality, hair quality, is your sleep. To finally, in the first chunk of my life, have I been actually able to sleep. I was wired at night. I was wired in the morning. So my body was constantly taking a hit, which is so, and I'm glad that I went through this when I was younger, because if your adrenals are taking a hit as you get into your 50s, menopause, like it's a wrap. Like you really fracking yourself up. So the other things that are a benefit beyond like energy and sleep quality and hormones is not being hungry all the time, and knowing that when I'm not eating, I'm not catabolic. So you guys, if you have strong hunger pangs and you go even longer without eating, you're gonna break down amino acids more than what you really should be breaking down, which is proteins anywhere in the body, and becoming catabolic. So the whole point to be young, people, is to be anabolic, not catabolic. We want to be in the building phase, the reparation, the repair phase of our life. We don't want to be breaking down. We want to build up and build up and build up skin, collagen. We want to have all our reserves nice and full, ready to keep us alive and in good spirits, and hormonally balanced, and have our brain chemistry in balance. So these are the things that I've noticed after 11 years, that the brain is sharp, it's sharp, like you're not brain fuzzy. You don't have that hypoglycemic or that sort of candida brain fog, which is another thing. It's very, very amazing how you can balance your gut flora just by cutting out those foods that pathogens and yeast like to feed on. So the lifestyle of keto forces you to breathe, have a straight posture, work out, take out foods that create a dysbiotic gut, rotate your foods. So people often ask me, do you feel like you are missing certain foods? And I'm like, not at all. Food is not something that keeps appearing in my mind, like craving things. Ah, thank you, Richard. What's up, Richard? I'm not craving things anymore. So these are the things that I see on other people who are staying over 1, 2, 3 years on keto adapted. Because if you're not adapted, you guys, you won't last over a year. It's not going to happen. You can force it out, but if you're ketotic after a year, you are going to feel terrible. Erica, no fasting. Talk about the fasting. I talk about fasting all the time. So as you can see, I do not need to fast. I am not starving. I'm not binging on food late at night. I am not catabolic, and I don't have a thyroid problem. And my sex hormones are on fleek, y'all. Okay? There's no dryness going on here. I'm good. So these are the benefits of being ketotic. So if your brain chemistry is in balance, your sex hormones are in balance, you don't have cavities anymore, which I used to always have. Your candida goes down. Irish Woman 45, thank you for donating to the super chat. If you, and here's the biggest ones that I haven't mentioned. This is for me, but people who are suffering from autoimmunity, like rheumatoid arthritis, which is what Deborah has. Richard has type 2 diabetes, people with heart conditions, people who've got lupus, people who've got multiple sclerosis, people who have Parkinson's, people who've got pancreatitis, people who've got all these like inflammatory bowel diseases, also, like I said, just inflammation in the body, like arthritis, osteoarthritis. To not be, the reason why, it's not that you have to do keto. You can be glucose dependent. I mean, we have been for a long time now. Most of us, if not all of us, have grown up on carbohydrates. But to watch the body repair and now be able to deal with your cancer or your diabetes or any type of autoimmunity you have, and skin issues, the eczema, the psoriasis, the shingles and things of this nature. The problem is when your blood sugar is going like this, actually it's more like this. So if your blood sugar is like this, what's that from? That's from processed carbohydrates, right? Only eat when I'm hungry now, although that's usually one meal and stuff. So yeah, you don't do that. I mean, for me, who's lifting, who's an athlete, I would never eat one meal a day. That's not enough electrolytes and not enough of your vitamins and minerals to sustain a body that's active. So be cognizant and aware of that. Don't get caught up on eating one meal a day because you will not be healthy. A hunter-gatherer, sure, relax, chill, and eat one meal a day. But a modern human, I would never do that because I'd start to be catabolic. But with that said, not to poke at you. Pull over. Never forget that Eddie Murphy raw. Anyway, so the people who have cancer, my mother had cancer. She's in remission of cancer for 11 years. Now it's difficult with my mom because I can't keep her on keto. It's like impossible unless I literally live with her. That's impossible. So the benefits are so, life altering, changing your genetic stamp, your epigenetics. So people will say, oh, the reason why you don't look older is because you're brown. No, I come from a huge family of brown people, and everybody in my age group is looking in their age group. Um, Sirens are so distracting. Sorry, guys. Um, I'm really, really a believer of how amazing, or for epilepsy, I forgot that as well. I'm a real believer of. Richard's like, join my Facebook group. Yes, I have a keto course group, you guys. It's $15 a month. And because the keto trend is so hyper right now, or hyped, people are spending two, three, four, five, six, 800, over $1,000 for these courses. That it's garbage information. So this is a cheap, very affordable way to learn how to do this the right way. So you can do it 1 month, like 1 month, it's $15, or continue after 1 month. It's up to you. I also do consultations. So if you guys want to speak to me one-on-one, I've got a lot of experience working with a ton of people. It started years ago from dealing with people who've got eczema and trying to understand eczema, which connects completely to the gut, to people who've had cancer, which I don't want to be the cancer person just because my mom is cancer free now, and I will never say it's 100% keto because I didn't know what I was doing back in the day, but I tried my best with a ketogenic protocol. The longevity and to repair this broken body, because the inflammation is another amazing thing. So being a pro skater, you guys know, as a pro skater, I used to skate with Tony Hawk, vert ramps, and broke everything. You guys know I have a busted knee. I've had 10 surgeries on my left knee, and people keep thinking I'm a dancer or a runner. I was at the drugstore the other day, and this woman was literally like, she stopped me. She's like, oh my God. And I mean, it felt good because this is like a grown woman, like in her 40s. She's like, oh my God, I wish I had your body. And I wanted to say to her, and I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 50s. And I just said, thank you, I appreciate it. And I really did, you know, it's just the longevity benefits. So I'm my own experiment on why I think that this dietary protocol is the best dietary protocol in the world, because of being a modern human, and we are quasi, not 100%, quasi mimicking to some degree what it would sort of look like in nature by not eating a lot of carbohydrates, where your glycogen, your insulin, the glucagon keeps going up and down, and then the beta cells don't work the way it's supposed to work, or let's say the insulin is not being received by the insulin receptors. And Richard knows that because he's a type 2 diabetic. And to be able to be a type 2 diabetic or insulin resistant or even a type 1 diabetic, and to do a ketogenic protocol and stop yourself from developing cancer or to develop heart disease, it's unfathomable that we can choose, if we want to help our body. So if you go on to other live streams, they're going to break down some science about autophagy, or they're going to break down some science about acetyl-CoA, or they're just going to be talking out of their butt about stuff that's irrelevant, or they're going to show a lot of dirty keto, or before and after videos. But people really don't know what it's like to do it for the long term and completely be, I'm 100% glycogen depleted because I haven't had carbs, starches in 11 years at all, not even a drop. So to be able to go and to be my own experiment, and not only to do it for 11 years, but to also do it 11 years, to go from your 40s to your 50s and go, okay, here's the time I should be menopausal. Here's the time I should start losing muscle mass. That's what they tell us, right? You should start losing muscle mass. You should start losing bone density, you know, your skin elasticity. Now, of course, you're going to age, but the way that you age is not as fast and as telomere degrading and DNA shortening as if you were continuing on that carbohydrate roller coaster right now. If you do paleo, then you must constantly watch your carbohydrate intake, because you're doing less carbs. And when you're doing less carbs, you still have to make sure that the timing, and this is also for people who eat processed foods, the timing of your carbohydrates is essential to not be catabolic and to continue the autoimmunity and disease that you have been living with, and the gut issues and the candida and the parasites and all this nonsense. I'm gonna take some questions here. Let me see. Let me see. I was sent to the burn ward. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Burn ward for 2 days. Lucky, no permanent damage. I tried to stay keto, but proper food wasn't always there for me to eat, so I gained weight, but having a ton of trouble losing it. Okay, so somebody asked what was the question before? Oh, that was such a good question. Oh, what was that question about? Darn it! Now it skipped my head because I started thinking about this person being a burn victim and thinking about their weight. I'm like, but you burn victim and thinking about your weight. My brain just, what was that woman asked about? It was a really good question. Darn it. Auntie Val says, like up the stream, guys. There's only 56 likes and 79 people here in the chat. Hey, Katie. If you're doing keto correctly, how long can it take on an average for your, what is it? For your stool to look normal? Um, you know, when I when I ask anybody how long it's gonna take, I always feel so bad. Like if I'm getting my car work done, I'm like, well, when's it gonna be done? And they're like, well, we don't know because I just took my car to the mechanic. It could be this day or this day. I also took my computer to the store to have like I got a virus, so they're cleaning off the virus. I'm like, so when is it gonna be ready? And it's kind of the same with the body. It depends on like they can't even give me an answer, and that's for a piece of machine. So often you have to think about like I don't know if you have leaky gut. I don't know if you have a gallbladder issue. So those are typically the two reasons why there's something wrong with your stool. So if your stool is from leaky gut, I believe it's a little bit pale yellowish color. And if you have a gallbladder problem, it'll be leaning more towards the gray side. And I don't know if your stool is floating. I don't know if you're constipated. I don't know if most of it's sinking, but a piece of it is floating. So it's kind of hard to tell you when will your stool look normal if I don't even know what issue you have, unfortunately. You know, if you had a gallbladder issue, I could say take ox bile or betaine HCl, the combination. Eat your fat very, very slowly. If it was just leaky gut, that's a whole nother protocol, like to rotate your foods, find out the worst culprits that might be giving you histamine. If you're having candida, you have to really, really be careful the types of foods that you're consuming, like mushrooms, and don't eat cheese, obviously. Just wondering when to worry that something is off, something is taking too long, aka floating stool supplement that you recommend. Like I said, I don't know why you're having it. I don't know more details. You got to realize I can't see you. I don't know anything to tell you. So I just give you an idea. If it's gallbladder, it's betaine HCl potentially, but mainly ox bile. If it's a histamine or if it's a leaky gut, then you would do things like rotate your foods. You could be using betaine HCl if your stomach acids are too low and pathogens are growing out of control because your stomach acids are low. These are the things, I mean, you could do, you know, which is hard for me to say, like a monolaurin, just concentrated lauric acid from coconut oil or oregano oil. But I don't know if you're going to react to those things because some people do poorly. Terry, why are you frustrated? This is Terry. What are you ugging about, Terry? Can you please have you select the like button for the valued information provided? Oh, thank you. Just wondering when to worry. Okay, you just answered that. Please, can you address to do when people develop high uric acid on keto? Mine's super high. I'm super worried. How do I lower it? Live on butter and broccoli, maybe. Terry, you got to be real careful with these comments. I know you're writing in huge caps, but you're not giving me a lot of information. Did you have high uric acid before keto? Because you don't have to do a high red meat. I don't know if you're doing high quality meats. I don't know that. I don't know if you have a problem with oxalates. I don't know. You're telling me you're eating broccoli and butter. Maybe you shouldn't be eating butter. It's like, I need to know more. I need to know more. I dealt with a person. I don't know if your high uric acid is giving you gout, but I dealt with a man who had gout and high uric acid, and the quality of his red meat was a super high varying factor on how high his uric acid went. So that's something I need to know. Oops. Okay, let's see. Hi, Keishel. That was a joke? Let me see. Okay, my panic attacks are causing issues with my adrenals, I think. I have bad PTSD and it is unpredictable. I get triggered and dump so much adrenaline. Exactly. So, Whitney, that's a good point. So, unfortunately, you have PTSD. Then you can you remind me glucometer that meant Precision Extra, Abbott, or Freestyle glucometers, or last choice would be Mojo. Do you recommend a consultation with you soon as? Do you recommend a consultation with you as soon as they start keto? No, I recommend a consultation with me even before, because I'm really teaching people how to do low carb, high fat even before they do keto. So it can incorporate both. That's what I'm going to expand my knowledge on: low carb, high fat, which is glycogen dependent, to keto, which is ketones dependent. Two separate things, but one goes before the other. Deborah's reminding you for you guys to book a consultation. Just go to stephanieperson.com. She's written it in caps so you can see the spelling. Freestyle was the one. Yeah, okay. So let me see back to that question because I already forgot. It's worried about something if something is taking long flow. Okay, I already answered that. 10 minutes show, follow along about diaphragmatic breathing. Nobody wants to watch me diaphragmatic breathe for 10 minutes, trust. But I can explain it in a sec. I was sent to the burn. Okay, I entered that. Burn ward 2 days. Like, okay, I already read that. It's not sudden panic attack. Oh yeah, the panic attacks. Okay, PTSD. I already forgot. No, calories don't matter. Calories don't matter now. I've got two mods here that are helping me answer when I don't see all the questions coming in. Thoughts on GKI? I don't even know what that is. So sorry, I can't help you on that one. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. And I watch Chris Masterjohn a lot, smart dude. And he's like, I don't know. I watch his live streams. He's like, I don't know. I was like, yes. One smart, bad mother sucker doesn't know a lot of this stuff too. No, you cannot eat Kerrygold cheese. Sorry. So, I forgot that person's comment again. Darn it. Thinking about cheese. Do I track my macros? Diaphragmatic breathing. I do not track my macros anymore, and I've been just doing this for so long. Okay. Yeah, I got it. PTSD. So, I know that the vagus nerve goes all the way to the gut. So I know that the gut, the small intestine, and the large intestine play a role in anxiety because it's connected to as well the adrenals. And there's a signal here that then signals here. So it's a or like straight perception of reality and adrenal response. So I really think that things like your central nervous system, relaxing, knowing how to have straight posture. Now it doesn't seem like that because my top looks very crooked, right? But having straight posture and not having your hips pronated and having straight. A lot of people sit at their desk with the C-shaped position, and they don't, like a C, they don't have enough upper trunk circulation. It's really hard on the organs to do their job when you're sitting in this horrible position all day long, which puts a lot of stress on the spine. So anything that creates inflammation in the body will have an adrenal response. I mean, you feel anxious. when you're like, when you're like stressed and you're in small spaces, or if you're stuck, you can't find something, you're freaking out, or you lose something, have an adrenal response. And so a lot of it is learning how to diaphragmatic breathe. I don't know what types of foods that you grew up on. I don't know if you have any candida overgrowth. I don't know if you how your blood sugar is, if it was like this, but you really got to try to stabilize your blood sugar. So I'm gonna try to answer a few more things, then like try not to do a long stream this time. But okay, somebody's talking about doing 3 tablespoons Kerrygold wine in San Francisco, which is very easy to just get a couple tablespoons of fat down if you're having blood sugar issues and trying to adapt instead of not eating at all. But as a PTSD person, I would do everything to stabilize your adrenals. So what would that look like? It would be connecting to a circadian rhythm, getting up when the sun rises. Don't skip meals. Not right now. If you're going to skip a meal as a PTSD person, well, PTD, and PTSD person, or with anxiety or even depression, it's trying to find the ebb and flow and the moments where you can breathe, diaphragmatic breathe, which is in through the nose, fill the belly with air, out of the mouth, you hold it in, and when you let it out, you relax the central nervous system and all the muscles. And nobody does that in the modern society, which is why you guys know I'm not into intermittent fasting, because if you are fasting, your body doesn't understand that we live in the modern times. So if you're doing a bunch of stuff and you have a propensity for adrenal issues or anxiety or depression, fasting is the last thing that you want to do as you go to work and drop off your kids and fasted cardio and all this bull crap. And so a person who's got anxiety or depression really needs to find the moments where they can breathe, the moments where they can turn off technology, turn off stress. Okay, so I do live Q&As on Sunday in my Keto course page, which you sign up through my website. And I also do many consultations with people there where I'm actually able to talk with a split screen with people to find out what's going on. And I spoke about stress. We spoke about stress. And stress has a lot to do with why people don't adapt. And I'm a kind of person that I don't find keto difficult because my brain doesn't perceive it as such. So with Deborah, who's got rheumatoid arthritis and thyroid, it's all for her. Doing keto has made such vast improvements in her own health and in her daughter's health that the way that the brain is so connected closely to the body is, if you are sitting there thinking this is so hard and thinking, I feel like I'm giving up so much, it won't work. You have to believe this stuff, because would somebody do this? So I spoke about have any what throat issues with cheese. It's not about throat issues. It's your gut. It's your small intestine, your immune system. It's got casein. Get rid of it. It's garbage. But with that, it's garbage, literally. With that said, I was talking about, if you look at some old streams, I'll talk about, I was watching Naked and Afraid, and lately I've been revisiting and visiting these YouTube Naked and Afraid, which is the show where people who are like survivalists, on the show, they go and they drop them in remote parts of the world, and you have to survive with no clothing on. So often they will give them like one thing to bring. It could be a knife, it can be a pot, it can be a fire flintstone thing. But I mean, I didn't get it back then, because when I was watching this like 6 years ago, it didn't connect. Now, and I lived in an African village for 2 months. Or in East Africa, I went on a safari too, which was quite interesting. That's in Steph's story time of living in Africa, in an African village, and then being around being only around Africans to then being around the tourists, but like at different phases of that trip. But the point is, I'm like revisiting, and I want to see the African Naked and Afraid, because they do it all over the world, South American jungles and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, let's take where we're from. Let's take Africa, because Africa is so, especially East Africa, is so bountiful in game, right? The big five. You got like zebra, rhinoceros, lions, hippos. These, what are the big predators? These are like, big, huge predators, hyenas and stuff like this. But I really wanted to see, if you're not living near the coast and you're not fishing, how are you going to survive, and what are you going to hunt, and what are you going to gather? And I was just, this is recently, within the last week, I was profoundly delighted and amazed on how wild spinach is growing, how beyond tubers and berries, they had wild spinach, some other plant that was high in potassium. So you need potassium when you need your electrolytes, especially when it's sweltering hot. They were able to catfish, hunt big game, catfish. There was figs. I guess that was one of the very sweet fruits, few sweet fruits. But everything seemed to be a bitter plant. And I thought, okay, this is very interesting, because I can go to my refrigerator right now and have some liver and some spinach. There are other elements that we have to consider as modern humans, and how it affects if we're doing a diet that remotely or some quasi way sort of mimics nature. So I was trying to connect what I'm eating now on keto to like the way they live. And so one of the guys was alone for 21 days, and he ate nothing but meat, sort of like a pure carnivore diet. I don't think he really had any vegetation, so it's very interesting to see how this is all possible. It's also interesting how they would sort of steal the already deceased animal from, let's say, a cheetah or a lion kill, that they would take that and eat off of an already dead carcass. And that's what we are. We have very acidic stomachs that can break down bacteria if we're eating fresh meat that doesn't have glyphosate and fed corn and all of this stuff. So it's very interesting about the woman who had high uric acid, what she would do on it, like if she were to live in Africa per se. And there's a few remote tribes that really eat off the land. But the thing that you see on that show is how much time they want to just lie around and do nothing when they're starving. And we don't do that. Like, we just are so obsessed with aesthetics that we really kind of forget, if you're starving and you're hungry, you're ignoring that hunger signal, and you're driving an hour to work, and you're going to the gym at night, and you're not getting any sleep, and you're not freaking out mentally because you know the refrigerator is right there. But you develop this sort of circadian rhythm, natural. If I'm feasting, I'm working. I'm building a shelter. I'm hunting when I'm feasting, and when I'm in famine mode, then I exert as little energy as possible. And so that was very sort of validating. I needed to be validated, not by African tribes, because I'm not an African tribesman. I wanted to be validated on what a modern human, how they would live in Africa, with water, with game, with plant source, roots, some tubers, some berries and things of this nature. And so going back to the PTSD concept, that our guts get destroyed from the water that we drink, this fluoridated water. We are on medication that destroys the biliary system, liver, kidney, and gallbladder system. People have often sort of fatty liver. They've got swollen livers. People have stones in their kidneys. People have gallbladder sludge. Women have cysts in their ovaries, cancer, endometriosis, fibroids. We're a mess. Now, we may not be starving and we may not be dying from infection, but we are killing ourselves slowly off of our modern addictions, like the television. I'm like telling people, you're going to have to, the last consultation I had with this woman was, she was getting up at 10:30 a.m. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I don't sleep well. And I said, I don't care. You're going to have to get up between 6 and 7. Even 7's too late. I said, you need to get up when the sun rises to reestablish this internal primal body clock. And in her mind, she's like, but I'm going to struggle without coffee. And I said, yes, you will. You will struggle for 2 to 3 weeks, but then slowly your body will readjust to being the way it was designed as a mammal, because that is what we are. We are animals. We forget that we are. And so this is why people fail on keto, and this is why people are successful, because they understand. So in my page, my course page, I was explaining how doing keto for 11 years is no big deal for me in this mind. It's all a projection of how you perceive reality. It's no big deal for me. You do what you need to do. I do what I need to do to protect my adrenals, my reproductive hormones, and my broken body from all these sports. I need to protect my body. If I were to live in Africa with the knee I have right now, I would be in trouble, because I've had 10 surgeries on my left knee and there's nothing in there. I've got one meniscus. My medial meniscus is gone. I tore the whole thing off the bone. And the lateral one is taking all of the weight. So that's problematic. And I have so much inflammation that is balanced through a ketogenic protocol, because if your blood sugar is like this, you're going to have an inflammatory response. So you have to outweigh the risk and benefit of doing this protocol. If you do keto the wrong way because you get lazy and you have PTSD, it's not for you. It will get worse because your carbs are too low, your glycogen's depleted, you're not using ketones, and that anxiety will explode. So then there's the inverse of using keto to heal from your PTSD, which is what I would do if I had PTSD. But I know me. I'm a mule. I'll work. I don't play. I don't complain. I just do what needs to get done. And so many of you lost your ability to be a hunter-gatherer, to be strong. So many of you go like, oh, it's so hard, and it's a wrap. The second you think that something's hard and you don't accept that's a part of life, darn it, my phone is not focusing. You're never ever going to experience pleasure if you don't experience pain, because you won't know what pleasure is. So like when you watch these people out there starving and they finally eat something, they're like, oh, you hear these like, the moaning and groaning literal sounds of like, oh. But if you go and have food all around you, don't give a crap. You start to feel like you need 5,000 choices of food. But if you're starving, what they say, hunger is the best spice of life. Sorry, there's so many comments now. Watch the full documentary called Rotten on. Okay, thank you. I will do that tonight as I work on my book, which I'm trying not to talk about, because the more I talk about the book, the more people are like, when's it going to be out? And then you have this like, so I stopped talking about it, but then I have to let people know that I'm still working on it. And let's see here. Dawn's affect you sleep needs to work. Yes. Food, orgasms. Yeah. If I'm reading a 1.7, oh, what, 17, I mean, so that's what? Did you write 1.7 a.m. I don't get that, Eddie. You have to rewrite that. You mean, if your glucometer reading's at 1.7? Your ketone? I don't understand that. My bad. Yeah, there's 80 people in the house to like up the stream. Hit that X in the corner and collapse it, and then hit the thumbs up, because it brings more traffic to this very humble channel, as I keep saying. It's removed, but now I'm amazed on how much it threw me off. Mine was, okay, I didn't see your prior comments. There's no point to read it. Oh, you mean your AM? Okay, that was really weird. If I'm reading ketones at a 1.7 in the morning. Oh, if that's what you meant, am I fat adapted? No. Fat, you could be having perfect glucometer numbers. That's why we can't be too dependent on technology, and not be adapted. You got to remember, your body can produce it, and blood can show that there's ketones within the blood, but then your body not have it go into the cell. Like if that's the cell, okay, so it's going into the cell. If it's not going into the cell, then you won't be using ketones. So some people can have insulin resistance or hypoglycemic symptoms on having 1.7 ketone. So you've got to also chart your glucose because they must work together. And I've worked with so many people with glucometers over the years. I was never using those stupid urine strips or breathalyzers. And it is literally your glucose and your ketones will match your symptoms. So when they don't match the person's symptoms, I know they're not using the ketones. So if their blood sugar is at like a 79 and they're exhausted, I'm like, you're just hypoglycemic. So now I can call it in 2 seconds. So let's try to make those ketones more viable. What types of fats are you doing? Do you have leaky gut? Is your stool floating? Because if you got 1.7 ketone, but your stool is floating, you're most not likely not using that fat. It's ending up in the poo-poo. Let me see. No coffee, yeah. So we don't do coffee. You won't adapt on coffee. I haven't seen anybody adapt on coffee, not people over the long term. And a lot of people will come into keto for 5 seconds and move out to tell you that they're fat adapted. And then, oops, they're gone. What happened to you? I had stress and I fell off. I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Whatever. People will say that they do well on intermittent fasting, and they don't. I think not to be braggadocious or verbose or whatever, but I'm 51, people. So being 51 years of age, okay, I'm 51. So you're gonna see me age exponentially if I'm doing something wrong. Okay, you can hide a little bit, but you cannot hide. Like stuff begins to sag, okay? Things, you can't hide it. And I think that people get caught up in people's short term, like, oh my God, intermittent fast is amazing, fabulous. And then because you were drinking that Jim Jones Kool-Aid, and only the older people know what I'm saying when I say Jim Jones Kool-Aid. When you're drinking the JJ Kool-Aid, you will believe whatever narrative that fits your ideology of impatience and wanting things to go real fast. And that is the reason why when people are talking about diets online, like, what was that woman named Sarah? Like that woman, she in the 80s, she had the shaved head, right? She had like crazy, like aerobic workouts and horrible diets. What was her name? Where is she now? And if you see her now, she looks 110. Do you still recommend a snack an hour before bed? That's high protein? No. I mean, the snacks I was saying was like a yolk. And I would say like a tablespoon or two. That's not high protein. Or like and I'm only suggesting this for people who are having hypoglycemia in the middle of the night. So that's when I'm like, unfortunately, your blood sugar is so unstable, and it would never just be fatty protein, it would be fatty protein with tablespoons of fat. So I don't like for people to eat before bed. I mean, if people could intermittent fast to have autophagy and to give their digestive system a break, I would. But people start to have reactive hypoglycemic responses. Early morning dawns effect. They have physiological insulin resistance rebound, fasting for too long, and it just doesn't work. And they just start binging on food. Hair starts falling out. Menstrual cycle disappears, or they bleed for an entire month. And the guys who are like pushing the intermittent fasting garbage, they're men. So they're not inclusive to everyone, because you can't sell, you can't, that's why I always say, like, I no wonder my numbers are smaller than everyone else's. I'm always saying about how hard it is. And everybody's like, intermittent fasting's amazing, man. Like keto's freaking amazing. You get lean. Before and after pictures are like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. I keep telling people how to be careful and that it's not easy. Oh, that's why my numbers are lower. Okay. So that's how you know when things seem to be too easy, it doesn't work. Deborah's reminding guys, book a consultation, you go to stephanieperson.com. And I'm really, really good at having that discussion. So how the consultations work is that I essentially go, all right, give me 10 minutes of, or even less, explaining to me any metabolic damage, metabolic inflexibility, health issues that I need to know about. And they do. They go back to when one woman's like, when I was in my mama's belly, this is what she ate. We go that far back, and I sit and I take notes. So this is why I have, I don't know, 200 notebooks of all the clients, more than 200. I had to throw some away. I had so many notebooks on clients. I write down everything, and writing also helps me visualize their issues. So I handwrite it, and then I ask more questions on top of what they tell me, because they always leave out details that they're not aware of. And then I start asking more questions, then they have questions, and then we start to put a new strategy, including together in the consultation, including workouts, how to plan keto around your workday, if you're night shift working, if you have kids, if you have to get up at 3 a.m. because you got to hit your car and drive to work for an hour by 4. We organize the whole day. It's not like I just go, okay, here's the diet. I'm like, all right, this is what I suggest. You don't have time to work out. This is what I suggest instead. This is what I suggest. This is what I suggest, and even sleep hygiene. So we go through the whole day in a consultation. So it's worth it. And all of these PhDs, it's all in theory. So they might be smart. They might be able to spit a lot of jargon on strategies and protocols. But until you work with all types of people, it's hard, especially something with keto, especially if these holistic functional doctors over time are jumping off the keto trend and onto a new trend. So Deborah's reminding everyone that she did a consultation with me, and she has changed. She said that I changed her life. So Deborah is someone that I haven't physically met her, but since our consultation, she has, or maybe even since she first found me, I don't know, but she's just been so loyal. And I always get this sort of, sometimes life is hard. You deal with your life, and underneath, I said this in my Facebook course page, behind the veil, people don't know who I really am. They don't know the things that I go through in life. And so people have the wrong perception of me. I am a strong person. I'm an alpha female, that's for darn sure. But it doesn't change the fact that when some people believe in what you're doing, even on the days you're like, what am I doing with this stuff? You're like, you have people like Deborah or Richard who stick with you and believe in what you're doing. And you're like, okay, these people are reminding me that I'm doing something right. So it sounds corny, but it's true. You know what I mean? I don't make a lot of money doing this. I don't sell projects. I don't sell products, but I keep going and don't monetize my videos. I don't know how many people are like, why don't you monetize? Why don't you have 20 affiliate programs? And I'm just like, I'm not ready yet to sell out. I don't think I won't ever sell out, but being maybe linking up with US Wellness Meets, for example, that's something I would love. Or something I really believe in as an affiliate program, or anything that helps with sleep that's not a pharmaceutical, I will do affiliate programs with. So maybe that will be my version of selling out, trying to make more money, or trying to offer more things through my website. But the obsession to sell things that I know don't work is not going to help you. And that's why keto is going to crash and die. And only the diehards who really want to improve their health will keep landing back on my page. Such thing as alpha female. I know it doesn't. But it's me using a kind of alpha female is very cliche. I mean, they talk about what alpha, beta, and the other one, alpha, theta. It's theta. Talk about the 3 traits, but you know what I mean? When people are like, oh, you're masculine, feminine side. And I think that's all stupid too, because if you watch some of these, like let's say Naked and Afraid, you have women who are considered like soft and feminine just kicking the men's butts because they can deal with the stress better or they can deal with the pain more than the guy. So does that make them an alpha? So it's very weird, our gender identification of like, oh, you're a strong female, then you're, and when I was a kid, it was like, oh, you're a strong black female, that's the worst ever. So you find yourself trying to not be this stereotype. When I was younger, I was trying to beat stereotypes, and now I'm like, whatever. This is who I am. Okay, so how high should sugar levels go after a meal? If it goes over 100, it depends. So was it GY42? You can't just say like after a meal. Everything is more scientific than that. I mean, we have to have a leeway for like, you know, potentialities that we may not be thinking about, but um, you have to test after 2 hours. So the body has to digest and start entering, getting that food from the stomach to the small intestine and then sort of seeping into the bloodstream, and that's what you're testing, right? So essentially, after 2 hours, everybody, it doesn't matter if you do keto or not or carnivore, and carnivore is pretty much keto because you should never do a lean meat carnivore diet. You're gonna get sick. It's got to be keto carnivore with the fats high, but um, you want to test your blood sugar after 2 hours and 2.5 hours to see if it goes down to your fasted number or a pre-checked number. So if you, let's say, do a test, just a random test, and you test 10 minutes before you eat something and you're calm, you're not jumping around, because when you jump around, so does your blood sugar. So you want to do it when you're calm. Test your blood sugar 10 minutes before you eat something, and then test after 2 to 2.5 hours. That's more objective because you're starting to clear out and empty out the food, especially if it's simple carbohydrates, or if it's the carbohydrates from the cruciferous vegetables. That's going to be into your bloodstream after 2 hours, and you'll get an objective number by then. So then, let's say if your blood sugar was 83, you want it back to 83. If it was 75, then potentially want it to 75. Everybody's blood sugar potentially goes up to 87, 90, not 100 if you're ketotic. It doesn't go up to 100. No, it doesn't go up to 100. It stays in the 90s, not stays, it goes up to the 90s after 30, 40 minutes, but then it goes back down to that fasted number, and it goes back to a ketotic number. That's if you're adapted. Okay, so we got 92 people here, and oh no, we got 92 likes. Oops. Wow, people are really giving Stephanie some love today. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. We have 92 likes and 80 people in the house, so people are really liking up the stream, and I appreciate it. Okay, yeah, I think she was in was it Dean Ornish camp from early on. Who? Who are you talking to? Kate, sorry, I missed it. What tool do you use for macro? No, you don't use tools for macro calculators. Unfortunately, you guys are going to have to do more of the work. Now, sometimes you can scan the barcodes. We have apps that you can scan the barcode and get the macro from the barcode from products, but I like Whole Foods. Then you would look at the package on the back and look at how many grams of fat or protein or carbohydrate per serving on the package of the whole food. And then you can chart it into your, let's say, MyFitnessPal, but you would never use their calculation of macros because it's always off. People are freaking out because their macros look weird. So it's better that you actually just learn how to understand macros. Now, I've simplified it, you guys know I was on the Dr. Oz show, and I was like 2 to 3 fingers. I was using that sort of visual because people do better with visuals than numbers. They don't count very well. You're not going to go over your protein allotment, especially as a woman. If you're eating 2 to 3 fingers worth of cooked protein, so that gives you a little bit more leeway if you start off raw, a little bit more cooked down to 2 to 3 ounces, which is about 2 to 3 fingers, with about the thickness of your hand. So of course I went like this. The producer's like, do this, it's so cool. That will put you in the range without going over. And for men, it's 4 to 5 fingers, and everybody's fingers are at different sizes. And unless you're Shaq, who's like 7 foot something, 7'2" or 7'1", then his hands are gonna be huge, and that's gonna be not that hand size. Still 200 grams of fat. Yeah, so 200 grams of fat is a baseline. Again, I'm giving these very generalized numbers to give you guys somewhere to start. So a lot of people start new. They don't know exactly their fat allotment. So I can go up to stay at this size. I can go up to or this body fat and this health and energy and sleep and all this. I can go up to about 230 grams a day and keep this exact body and this level of health at 230 at 5'3". So that's, it's not exactly 200, but I try to get people at least to 200. And the reason why I came up with this number is because I would test people all the time by using their glucometer, the type of fats that they were eating, the quality of food. And if they were eating 150 grams of fat, the ketones were just shite. So that's also subjective. You could be a person who doesn't eat any fat and have ketones at a 2.0, but you won't be ketotic because your energy will be crap. So there's a lot of moving parts. Not only do you want your ketones between a 1.8 and a 2.0, but you need to have the energy with that, and the glucose has to correlate with the ketone number and all your symptoms. So, when I'm looking at the vegan world, they never ever want to listen to symptoms. They always say you're not doing it the right way, or, you have to listen to symptoms. You have to. Vegans will say like people will be like, I have gut issues. I have this, I have that. Oh, you're juicing, you're eating raw, you're doing fast. This is the reason why it's not working. And they're not listening to these people saying like, I don't feel well. So then you have to deconstruct the analysis of why do you not feel well. And if you dig deep enough, you can figure out why you're not sleeping, why you're farting, why you feel nauseous, why you have skin issues. It's not hard. It might seem hard in the beginning because you don't understand physiology, but after a while, you start to be like, why does my back hurt all the time? And then you start going, memory starts going, oh yeah, I was lifting wrong when I was doing deadlifts. Let's see, why do ketones, okay, and I'm almost done, you guys, because I keep telling myself not to go too long because people don't like long live streams. Why do ketone levels differ so much from day to day and even during the day? Okay, first of all, you only test, Miss Morgan, you only test in the morning, because if you are testing your ketones after you've eaten something, it's a subjective test because your body's registering what you ate. We really want to see if your body is breaking down units of fat and converting it into ketones. That's more objective. So forget that throughout the day. And to be honest, Miss Morgan, most people who are fully adapted will have pretty consistent ketones. They don't jump around unless it's around your menstrual cycle, if you go through really traumatic stress, or if you have a cold or flu. Will you see ketones, or are you just not eating, you're starting to fast? Will you see ketones starting to jump? Normally when you're ketotic, they're in a very consistent range. But what will jump around is your blood sugar. See here, can you just have fat tea in place of a meal? No. You guys got to understand, first of all, as a hunter-gatherer, because our bodies don't know we live in the modern time, it doesn't know how to drink its food. It knows how to drink water. What you guys don't realize is there's a response from the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis that you're not chewing and you're not eating it. The body doesn't understand. It starts to get a little haywire. So that's why I like people to get up and have a breakfast, because it's immediately telling the medulla up in here, hey, we're eating something. So we don't need to crank up the adrenals too high to survive, right? Because we only want to use our adrenals when absolutely necessary. We don't want to have our adrenals just constantly barf out adrenaline and cortisol because of having modern human life stress response. And so in some ways, eating a breakfast in the morning is going to tell the body, the primal body, that I'm not starving. So we don't need to go into emergency mode. So when you're drinking your fat, you're not going to adapt. You have to eat. You have to get enough amino acids. And you have to chew. The chewing motion is a part of our physiology. Bonjour. What is it? How do you say your name? Lex? Was it trop belle? I think that's very attractive. Oh, thank you. I can speak Swedish, you guys know I lived in Sweden. wish I knew French. I really want to get this whole, I don't want to live in a shoebox. You guys know I live in a shoebox. I don't want to sell out, but I need to grow this business so I can reach more people with not grinding, just constant work. Because you guys think that I don't work, but I'm every day, all day, every day, all day, every day, all day. And I would love to learn more languages. And French is one of them. And maybe then like Swahili, right? Yeah. I'm trying to remember the Swahili I learned when I was 2 months in East Africa, in Tanzania. Karibu sana, I remember that. Karibu sana. They would say, hello, dada. I remember that. Okay, test. Sorry, I get off the track sometimes just because I get bored answering these questions. I'm not gonna, I don't get bored of you guys. Sometimes my brain needs diversity. Okay, is water the only liquid that you drink? Right now, yeah. I don't drink anything else. You know? Deborah's like, oh, put some Himalayan salt because this morning I had a slight headache. But all I did was, where's my, I have that magnesium spray somewhere. Oh, here it is. All I needed to do was this, right? I went like that, or I did it on my arm, I think. I did that today in my live stream, and then I just took a couple sips of the water. Headache gone. Boop! And that was the determinant if I was going to do a second stream today now. So the headache gone. Just from this. Holla! Look at that. Bam! Magnesium. That's what's up. So only water, yeah. Okay, what do you think about intermittent fasting? It's garbage. Many keto, they're not keto gurus if they're pushing the intermittent fasting. Recommend it, but you just mentioned the importance of having the meals. Yeah, so Miss Morgan, and I watched the replay because I really stressed, there's nothing wrong with fasting if you do nothing. Watch Naked and Afraid. When they are not eating, they are resting. And when they are famine, they are working. So you don't want, like if you don't have gasoline, you're not ketotic. And then you're going to put, is that oxymoron? To be fasting and do keto? Keto is a high-fat diet. How are you going to eat a high-fat diet if you're not eating? It makes no sense. You have to eat enough dietary fat to stimulate this whole physiological process of trying to retrain your body to use and uptake ketones over glucose. Because some people don't adapt because their body's still barfing out adrenaline, breaking down everything. Your legs, this under the arm. People have flabby arms. That turkey gobbler, that's from fasting too long and too much and too often. And people jump on the intermittent fasting bonanza because they want to lose weight. And I can't stand the subject of just pure weight loss. There's nothing wrong with wanting to lose body fat. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a cheetah and fast and lean when you try to help heal your body first. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you're intermittent fasting because you're obsessed with trying to get skinnier, you will get skinnier. You will lose your menstrual cycle and your hair because you're going to lose your T3. You're going to lose your progesterone. And men, your testosterone is going to go like this. And if you don't address the underlying stress in your life, if you're not in homeostasis, you can't fast. And nobody talks about that because that does not make money. It just doesn't. And sometimes people will challenge those keto gurus, and sometimes they'll say, well, maybe fasting isn't for everyone. Well, that's right. It's not good for most people. I've seen, and the reason why I came to this conclusion, I've just worked with so many people who fasted who are like, it didn't work for me. It was really hard. I started binging. I started feeling really tired. My hair started falling out. People had headaches because they didn't have enough electrolytes, muscle cramps. There's a ton of issues from fasting. You know, I started getting smaller, but then I started losing my legs or started losing my boobs or whatever. I do, Eddie, I don't do it as much. I charge an extra fee to do in-person in-person. It's my last name. Face-to-face consultations just because it's a pain in the ass. Like I gotta get up and meet somebody at a place, and you know sometimes they're late, and I'm on a schedule, and then you go overtime because you know time goes by fast. So I prefer live stream, like Skype or FaceTime or Google Hangouts, private Google Hangouts or Facebook Live video, because you start, you stop. But I still do it. I just don't do it as much, and I charge an extra fee. So I hate people telling people that. I'm like, yeah, I can meet you in person to person, but you have to pay an extra fee. It seems so like money grubbing, but they don't realize what a pain in the butt it is to actually go and to meet somebody in person, especially if you go over time. Avocado shake with wheatgrass? No, that's disgusting. Ugh. Sorry. No, don't do. Okay, if you are anyone who's got any type of latex allergy, doing an avocado shake will make you very sick. And wheatgrass is super histamine responsive foods. So we can't one stroke everybody. You know, we're very similar as human beings. Our genetics, our DNA is very similar, but there are those variants because of what your body has been exposed to, with like Weston Price traveling around as a dentist and going around and seeing cultures that didn't have roads, you know, going straight, delivering buckets of, like it's like in Switzerland, for example, which is very interesting to go to Swiss Alps. Switzerland is so beautiful, but if you're in the Switzerland in the 1920s and there's no roads going to where you live, you're not going to have the accessibility of all the cakes and cookies and sweet things, and how you could see that their teeth, you know, a lot of people don't have straight teeth. The teeth didn't fit in the mouth because it didn't fit in their cranium, because even in utero, the head shape begins to alter if the mom's eating sugar. Let's see. What is the fees are paid? No question. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Yeah. It's a possibility. As long as you sane. Yes. Best channel trying to hit RAM. Wait, was it channel? Yeah, best channel trying to hit RAM sleep for now on. Good night. Good night, Sarah. I was now don't know what to eat other than Kerrygold butter and small pieces of grass-fed beef and some pork. WTF do I eat now? I definitely think you should go to my keto course page if you don't want to have a one-on-one consultation. It's $15, so you can sign up, and it works like it's a membership. You sign up and just do a month and cancel your subscription. There you're gonna get your questions more answered. I mean, you really are starting from zero. But I can't tell you on a live stream, especially when my butt's about to go. I'm always going overtime. Western Price research is so valuable. It's so valuable, and vegans can't stand it, but the guy did his work, Brad. You know what I'm saying? He did. And Deborah's saying to subscribe to my keto course page, just go to stephanieperson.com. You can see it in she's written it in caps, also for the people watching the replay. Okay, guys, so it's time for me to go. As you can see, last stream, I was hyper. I was like, what? Today was so beautiful here in California. I was riding my bike earlier. Before that, I was doing a live stream. So I'm trying to chill now. I don't like to be hyper in evening live streams because I get a little hyper before I go to sleep. Thank you, Yin Yang. God bless you, too. It's Ancient. Ancient Minerals is there are cheaper ones though. It's a little pricey. There are cheaper sprays. But the Ancient Minerals, I don't like to mention brands, but they have a pretty credible name. So if you want to screenshot that. They do a cream as well. But I have to say, there was a woman on my last live stream. She's like, you're all over the place, so I'm going to go off to Dr. Dingleberry. And I was like, okay, you commented on my channel to say you're going over to Dingleberry. You know you love some Stephanie, or else you wouldn't be commenting. So that was too funny. The comments I get sometimes, but you know, it is what it is. I have a large personality, so I'm not going to please everyone. That's for sure. I know. Because it doesn't matter what this is what I'm saying when I'm not on camera. I don't like the public to be lied to. That's where I got a lot of my inspiration from. My mom had a glioblastoma because she grew up eating garbage. That's all she knew. Um, I wish that she was, you know, the 70s came around and Crisco came around and corn oil and cooking. We were eating fried chicken. Yes, we were. With wheat as the crust and deep fried in either Crisco or corn oil. I don't have kids, but if I did, I would have cavities, and I would have bad cramps, menstrual cramps, and it's just like my mom had no clue. She had no clue. I started getting like rashes all over my body. My mom did not breastfeed me, and I had like a candida overgrowth in my teens, and she had no clue. So that's where I get my energy from, or like you guys, we've been all lied to. So within the whole healthy world, alternative health, and then people continue to be lied to, I get so irritated. And I'm like, Stephanie, stay in your lane. If they want to talk that, let them talk that. That's what they do. It is just what they do. You can't get triggered off of somebody else trying to make a dollar. They won't survive. They won't have longevity, and people will not know what to do from on that in their lane. But that's none of my business. That's why I'm trying really hard to just stay away from YouTube drama. I have scoliosis, and there is a lot of pain as the day goes on. What would be a good? Oh, it's too late. That's a long subject. I have a lot of pain management concepts that would be great. I spoke about this on my course page earlier today, but to say it right before I'm going to leave, wait to the next live stream or go to my course page, sign up for a consultation or something, that probably do you well. There's a lot. You guys know I'm not just like a nutrition person. I'm going to say expert, such a cheesy word. But, I trained people for 16 years. Like, I know about kinesiology and biomechanics, or I could say that I know a lot more than most trainers. So to combine lifestyle, science, nutrition all together into a person who's in her 50s, I feel pretty confident to help people now. Now, when I started doing YouTube videos, I was confident then, but I didn't know what the HELL I was doing back then. So, what is it when you're naivete, or like, what is it when you're blind, something bliss? Like, I didn't know that I didn't know a lot. So, but now I actually realize that I didn't know a lot, so I strive to know more. So I've got a lot of techniques to help with pain, and how to do, not just beyond exercises, but how you breathe, how you sit, how you de-stress, because if your central nervous system is overstimulated, your back is just going to kill you. No, I wasn't on the Steve Harvey show, but I might be on the Steve Harvey show. Let's see. Somebody has been, what is it? They have been let know that there is Stephanie out there to be on Steve Harvey show, maybe The Real, and the Doctor show, and Us Weekly. So we'll see. Either it will happen or it won't happen. Got on the Dr. Oz show. I wasn't even looking for that to happen. They just contacted me. And it's funny because 6 years ago, I'm like, I'm going to be on this show, this show, and this show. And then you kind of forget that you said that. And they're like, someone said the other day, you were on the Dr. Oz show, and you said 6 years ago you're going to be on it. I was like, oh, I did say that, and I completely forgot. So it's not that these shows are important, but being on the Dr. Oz show, no matter, it doesn't matter if it's a conventional commercialized, commercial show. I was able to reach real people with real problems. And that just, I have a video of me. I'll put it on YouTube. I have so much footage of all this stuff. But I'm with a group of women from the show. I literally didn't take the friggin' car that they take, put you in back to your hotel or to the airport. I wanted to walk out with the audience. So I stripped off all that makeup. I was like, ugh, get this makeup off me. Took off the makeup, and I walked out with the audience, which, you know, you don't do. You want to be kind of a rock star and leave in a freaking, you know, a car. And I leave with the audience, and they just stopped me, and I had like a mob of women around me asking questions. And I was like, it was just so amazing to be able to speak to that demographic. Because what type of people are watching that show? Women in my age group. So it was great. It was really, really a good experience at the end of the day for me, beyond the politics of the show. Good night, Rick. See you next time. Yes, I'm 53 and I will be 54 in June. Awesome. So on that note, you guys, it's time for this girl to relax. And, well, I never relax. Silly me. Time for me to get back to work. Actually probably time for me to eat something. Not something. I already know what I'm going to eat. Y'all know I'm down with the liver. Y'all carnivore people need to get your fats over 200, and you need to have organ meats. So on that note, are you going to get sick? And have enough electrolytes. Get the electrolytes. And know what foods are high in the potassium. Because potassium, citrate, and chloride, this stuff will mess up your kidneys. All right, guys. And I'm out. Till next time. Thank you for joining the chat. You can also go to Stephanie Ketogenic on my Instagram and watch the stories. Or Stephanie, the business person, on my Facebook fan page. And I put up information on all those pages. I don't know how I do it. Or you can just join the course at stephanieperson.com. Or you can sign up for a consultation. And I'm out. Bye, guys. Thank you, Rick and everyone. And always thank you, Deborah. And thank you, Richard, for coming in and answering questions too. But Deborah's like the queen of the YouTube world. She's like got my back. So my live streams have changed dramatically because of her. All right, guys, I'm out. Peace. Peace, Julius. Bye. And click ring. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you, Terry.